Yo, what is up guys? This is Troy D from the Troy D 24/7 Mall channel, your source for on point and no hype reviews. We are back yet again, everybody. We're back with another fragrance review today. And this one right here, guys, is a no hype review on a very hyped fragrance, especially for the fall winter season. It is getting cold out there, guys. So I will give you guys a full no hype breakdown, what you can expect from this very hyped fragrance from Lattafa. Now, before I continue, please do not forget to like and subscribe, guys, okay? Liking, subscribing, and watching the ads is a great big deal to the channel. We are headed to 14,000 subscribers, so keep the support coming, guys. I love you all. Let's get it. Now, the fragrance that we will be talking about today is none other than Lattafa's Eternal Oud. Yes, Lattafa's Eternal Oud, not to be confused with by Kilian's Eternal Oud. That's a different thing, and I do have that as well. I might review that at some point, but this one right here is the Lattafa Eternal Oud. Now, this one right here, guys, this sample of Lattafa Eternal Oud, you guys are probably wondering, well, this looks like a container for Tic Tacs or gum, all right? And it does look very, very interesting. But this one right here is actually a 20 ml official sample of Eternal Oud, guys, okay? And I know that Eternal Oud is actually cheap to begin with, but my collection is getting pretty vast and I do have a lot of perfumes that are unused. So just like this, guys, I mean, it will take a lot for me to actually buy a real full bottle, 100 ml full bottle of anything, because there's just too many perfumes in my collection. So for now, we're gonna go with this 20 ml, very generous sample from Lattafa, guys. And I purchased this from Intense Oud for I think less than like $10 or something, okay? So this is what we're using right now. Now, Lattafa Eternal Oud, guys, is pretty hyped, not only because of this crazy presentation, and you can see that with the bottle design right here. It's pretty crazy. I think it's over the top. It's beautiful, and that's one of the reasons you should buy a full bottle, is that presentation. But also, a lot of people say that the smell itself is pretty amazing. It's bonkers amazing, guys. So today, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to break this scent down. I'll give you guys the entire makeup of this fragrance. So before you buy, you know what to expect, and you can kind of cross-reference this with other fragrances that you own. Before we do that, let's go spray this thing right now. Okay, guys, now let's talk about Lattafa's Eternal Oud, shall we? Now, before I get into the scent development of Lattafa's Eternal Oud, let me just say this, that at some point this fragrance is going to be incredibly linear, guys. And the reason for that is because the main makeup of this fragrance, majority of the notes that make up Lattafa Eternal Oud are basically notes that either smell very similar to each other or that they work in conjunction with each other, guys. So you can compare this to like maybe Grand Soir. Grand Soir is primarily an amber fragrance, and it does have those same elements of labdanum, benzoin, amber, vanilla, pretty much mixed together, and they work in unison for the life of the fragrance. Lattafa Eternal Oud is pretty similar with that main frame of amber, sweet, vanilla, tonka, all those notes that we already know work together very well. That is the main frame of Eternal Oud, and then everything else is pretty much an enhancement to that, a little spike, if you will, something that changes the dynamic shortly before the main frame. The main part really just continues in a linear fashion. Okay, guys, now let's look into the opening scent development of Lattafa Eternal Oud. So right here in the top, you are going to get grapefruit and plum, and then in the mid, there's orchid as well as heliotrope. Now, these notes, a lot of people are saying they can't detect it, or where is it, guys, okay? And again, this is what I'm saying, that the ambery part is actually really a thick blanket, guys, and it can take over pretty early. And so I would say that the first spike, if you will, the first uplifting spike, if you will, is actually pretty short-lived, and we're talking about like maybe 15 minutes before that curve, that blanket of all these, you know, ambery notes, these sweet notes working in unison, before they take over, you are gonna get really a dash of grapefruit as well as the orchid. So grapefruit does come first, guys, and if you spray this, it's pretty much that first glistening experience that you will get, and that's also why a lot of people like Lattafa's Eternal Oud. It's a perfect citrus to put in here as a spike, kind of like just like an initial, like, wow, this smells great. And then I would say like a few seconds after that, then the orchid comes in as well. And again, this is so subtle. Maybe some of y'all might even, get past the orchid, but there is an orchid floral note that does accompany that grapefruit right here. So initial blast is going to be this uplifting, glistening grapefruit orchid combination, but you can already smell though the heliotrope, the amber, and the plum, kind of like just waiting in the wings before they actually take over. So after 15 minutes, that is when pretty much the curve notes take over the uplifting part of Lattafa's Eternal Oud. So plum is one of the first notes that takes over that, and as you guys know, plum is definitely one of the biggest hits right now with FragCom. A lot of fall winter fragrances with plum, like plum and cognac, they're pretty popular right now with the fall winter season coming in. And so plum does take over 15 minutes after that uplifting surge of grapefruit and orchid and heliotrope. So plum does come in. It's a beautiful, beautiful note. And then after the plum, that is pretty much where that main frame of sweet ambery notes simply take over. You are going to get a sweet resinous touch from the benzoin, and I do detect some dry woods here at the same time, guys. So it's kind of like benzoin and dry woods. And then I would say a few minutes after that, you're gonna get that honeyed amber, and then you're going to get the tonka bean, which is like the one that has the tobacco-like properties. So if you ever hear that Eternal Oud smells like it has tobacco in it, well, that's basically your tonka bean with the tobacco-like properties. Now, all of this, guys, the benzoin, the dry woods, the amber, as well as the tonka bean, these pretty much come up within the first 30 minutes. And believe you me when I say that it actually lasts a long ass time with these notes really working together. Now, the interesting thing right here, guys, is the way that this fragrance pretty much performs, guys. Okay, so that's what's interesting, because you're probably wondering, Troy, if the curve notes come in within like 15 minutes of the fragrance, right, and these are usually base notes, ambery, sweet, vanilla, then what happens for the rest of the fragrance, and how long does it last? How long does it linger around, or does this even project a lot? Upon repeated testing of Lattafa's Eternal Oud, I found out that the strongest time window, when this is the strongest, Lattafa Eternal Oud is the strongest, is the first 4 hours. Okay, it's the first 4 hours of Lattafa's Eternal Oud, guys, and it is a very significant smelling, lingering scent that does create a scent trail, guys. Now this one to me is more than enough, to be honest. And I did a quick poll, guys, with my channel recently. I did a poll on the website, guys, and I asked y'all what was the acceptable longevity significant scent of a fragrance. And actually, a lot of y'all, not surprisingly, this makes sense, said that, 6 to 8 hours is actually more than good enough. And that's, to me, I'm on the same boat as you guys. And in my opinion, this whole like 12 to 15 hours stuff, I think honestly, this came from Western fragrance influencers. I think that outside of that world, outside of that realm, that's really not what's acceptable to a lot of people. And Lattafa pretty much, I think, is outside of that. Like, it's being hyped right now by Western influencers of fragrances, but honestly, Lattafa has been around before them. So Lattafa by nature, although their fragrances do perform pretty great, they're not about that life. They're not about that whole 15 to 16 hour benchmark that these other guys in the fragrance world are talking about. That's awesome, but in fact, a lot of people just say 6 to 8 is more than okay. This one right here, like I said, 4 hours of strong, lingering, significant scent. But the interesting part is, past that, it becomes a draw-in scent. It's like a draw-in, ambery, sweet, vanilla scent that happens pretty much past the 4 hour mark. But it does last past the 12-hour mark. So this part right here lasts pretty long. Okay, so that is my assessment of how the performance goes with Lattafa Eternal Oud. 4 hours of lingering scent with a scent trail. Past that, it becomes a draw-in scent. Perfect for date night, if you ask me, guys, or anything intimate. Now, is Lattafa a nice smelling fragrance? Absolutely. I would say it's a real nice, likable fragrance right here. And it does make sense to me now after trying it why a lot of people love it. Because, you know, there is that first initial part where you're like, oh, it's amazing because of that grapefruit with that orchid heliotrope combo. A lot of people discount that, and really they talk about the plum and they talk about the amber vanilla tonka combination in the end. But actually, one thing that you'll notice if you try Eternal Oud is that lovely uplifting opening before the curve notes pretty much happen. But mainly this fragrance will be loved because of the plum amber vanilla tonka bean combo. This is a perfect fall winter concoction, and the fact that you're getting more of the same over hours and hours. Only reason you might not like this is if you're into fragrances with a whole lot of transitions. You're not gonna get a lot of transitions here. But if you're a fan of, say, Grand Soir, and you can see that it's like everything is pretty much linear with just these few adjustments that happen within the fragrance, if you like that, the Grand Soir amberiness, then I think you are gonna like Eternal Oud as well. If you guys love sweet, ambery, tonka bean fragrances, you are gonna get that here for hours and hours, guys. I would say even more than 15 hours. Like, you know, the smell was like the same as, you know, how fragrance sticks to clothes, like hours and hours. It was kind of like that, guys, and it really lasted for a long time. Not as strong, but it pretty much lasted. So if you like that warm, comforting amber touch, again, this is your fragrance right here. Not a lot of evolutions, but I would say really nice opening and consistent sweet amber tonka all the way till the end. Now, of course, you're probably wondering too, where is the oud here? Okay, now there is an oud note. Yes, there is an oud note, but it is a minor oud note that happens hours and hours way later into the fragrance. It is discernible, I would say, within the 10th hour mark. You will smell this really nice, faint, but it's there. Oud would really match with vanilla labdanum in the end of this fragrance. But I wouldn't say it's like an oud fragrance. It's just there near the end, discernible, but not really that strong. At the end of the day, this is a plum, amber, sweet tonka bean fragrance that is perfect, like I said, for the fall winter season. And for the price, $40, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of y'all already own a full bottle of Lattafa's Eternal Oud. Now for me, this one right here is a grabber. Okay, this is a fall winter grabber for cheaps, for almost nothing. You get a fall winter grabber that you can use, guaranteed. It's gonna make people compliment you if that's your deal. It's not really my deal, but it will make people compliment you because of that initial uplifting scent trail that it does. And then of course that draw in sweetness, that draw in amberiness with that tonka bean vanilla. People will love that as well. So this is a winner right here, guys. Lattafa Eternal Oud. Let me know in the comments, guys, what y'all think of Lattafa Eternal Oud. Do you love it? Or do you just like it? Let me know. I really want to know, guys. And if the performance that you guys got from Eternal Oud pretty much matched mine, guys. Okay, so I will do a lot more Lattafa videos and a lot more clone comparisons very soon. But also for those that love niche, don't worry, I still gotcha. I'll be doing Frederic Malle's Uncut Gem as well as Diaghilev by Roja next, guys. Okay, so thank you for liking and subscribing, for being with me in this channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video. God bless, take care, peace.